join?
Councilman Dixon, are you there?
I am here.
All
You
right,
can turn it
thank
up
you.
if you need to.
Hi, Tim.
Yeah, there's a little
Can-
plus sign on there in the volume.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thanks. We going off my phone or off that clock? Probably just like 10 seconds.
Your phone is going on.
My phone says barely 40 minutes. Off that phone. Split the difference. Good evening. We'd like to call this meeting of the regular city council of Holbrook, Arizona to order at 6 p.m. on December 8th, 2022. We'll do a roll call. We've got Vice Mayor Payne with us. I know it's been one of those nights. Councilman Marsh, Councilman Wolford, Councilman Nielsen, and Councilman Kester, and we have Councilman Dixon on the phone with us, so all are present tonight. So, we'd like to go ahead and move to the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilman Kester, and then our invocation will be given by Councilman Nielsen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful that we could be assembled in these free circumstances to do the work of our community. Please bless us with thy spirit. Help us that we'll maintain order and decorum and be able to bless the members of our communities. Please bless our land with peace. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Item number 4, consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
So make the motion.
A second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Is there any discussions? Any discussion? In the minutes? All right, with that, all in favor of approving the consent agenda for November 10th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 5, call to the public for non-agenda items.
There are 2 items.
Thank you. All right. So before we start the call to the public, just as a note on the back of each of your agenda, I'm just going to read that second paragraph where it says, anyone may address the city council on any issue within the jurisdiction of the council. City council may generally not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda, except in certain circumstances. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431-01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Items on the agenda will not be heard or discussed and called to the public. Video or audio tapes or other overhead visual aids may not be presented during these public appearances. All speakers should begin their remarks by stating their name and address for the record. With that, we will start with Mark Romo, a resident of Holbrook, who will be speaking on behalf of Little League.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I forgot to say, for non-agenda items, it's a 3-minute limit, and there'll be a beeper that goes off on.
Sounds good, thank you. My name is Mark Romo. I reside at 211 West Buffalo. I'm here on behalf of the Little League Association. I just recently moved back to Holbrook in December of last year, and one of the things that I wanted to be involved with was our kids, and I joined the board with the Little League. I think it's really super important. As one of the kids here in town when I was growing up, it was probably one of the only things that was important to me. And I see there's a lot of things that are important to kids. And I'm here because I want to talk to you guys about the lighting situation or the lack thereof that the Little League has. Last year I witnessed where they had a Little League tournament, and I think they had like 5 teams. I was talking to Brian Reed, who's president of our Little League Association. He said that they had an opportunity to host a 12-team tournament, but they couldn't do it because of the lack of the day and the lights and so forth. Those people have to eat somewhere. They have to get gas somewhere. Some of those teams may even stay here. So there's economic possibilities for Holbrook. For those that don't know, Holbrook's Little League has been in existence since 1952. Last year they had 250 kids that participated within Little League, and that could be within the T-ball, the coach pitch, girls softball. It's all encompassing through Little League Association. Of those 250, 50 could not pay. So we have an economic challenge in some families. Little League covers those costs. So we can't afford to pay for lights, out of our own pocket. In those 70 years, there's been a multitude of children that have come through this system. Last year's was 250, but if it was on average 100 kids, you're looking at 7,000 kids over the last 70 years. Some of those kids are business owners, doctors, attorneys. We have one NBA coach right now who went through that system that you guys are all aware of. And from what I understand, they've been trying like heck to get grants. I think I'm asking the city to start looking into avenues to fund this thing. And I realize expenditures and the city level is tough. But when I lived in Phoenix and I saw that you guys had spent $35,000 on a lawnmower for the golf course, when this is infrastructure as well. Our kids are infrastructure, and we need to keep those kids here. So I'm using my time here as I don't have any kids in Little League here. All my kids are grown, so I have no skin in the game other than the town and caring for these kids that are here. But I'm asking you guys to start looking at your budget, your line items, and from what I understand, the city manager last year during a meeting, Brian had said that they would start looking at lights.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Very much.
Can I
Appreciate it.
ask one question? Mark, is this specifically for the John Barrow Field, or is it for
For the John Barrow Field.
John Barrow
Yes.
Field? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. All right, next up we have Colleen Marsh. And
Thank you.
I'll let you take your topic.
I won't be 3 minutes long, and I know this wasn't specifically on the agenda, but it is the last meeting for 3 of our council people here, so just wanted to give my wholehearted thanks for Councilman Kester, Councilman Wolford, and my dear husband, Councilman Marsh. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was all for our call to the public for non-agenda items. Do we have any call to the public for agenda items?
We do, there are 3 of them.
All right, first up, we will have Robin Gonzalez of Holbrook as well in regards to the statue.
I was hoping I could allocate my minutes. My name is Robin Gonzalez. Thank you, council and mayor. I was hoping I could allocate my minutes to Tammy, but she said she didn't need them, so I guess I'll give my point of view. I am here to talk about the statue, the hash knife statue that rumor has was going to go up on the corner of Hopi and Navajo. I spoke to quite a few of you council members privately about this and my concerns. And my concerns may be different than some, so I'm only going to voice my opinion. And my opinion is that is our corner of Route 66. It's a 90-degree, one and only, possibly, I'm not sure, I said that before and they've corrected me. So very few. I feel that that should remain dedicated to Old Route 66. I feel if we start putting different things on there, where do we draw the line? I mean, everything, we have a lot of history in Holbrook, and if someone decides they want to put something there, before you know it, we got 3 or 4 different things on that corner that should be marketed for Route 66. There's other places, and I don't think anybody that I spoke to is against the statue. I raised money for the statue. I'm happy to have the statue. I think the concern is just the rumors, which no one even knows for sure where the statue's going. But that corner would be a shame to start, I feel, veering away from what it is. because we'll never have another one, and there's not another one in Holbrook of our corner of Route 66. So I just feel that when I'm down there and there's people come to take pictures and everything else, I just don't know how the horse fits in with the theme we were trying to make of our corner, or what our corner should be. And we could always make the corner bigger and better to even advertise on Route 66. And I feel that the horse statue could go along Navajo Boulevard where it looks like it's running, like right across the street from Pat's. Or like many people mentioned down at the courthouse would be a good area. I know everybody thinks the corner's the most visible, but we all know when you stop for traffic and you look around, it's not the most visible corner because you're only there for a few minutes before you have to move down the road. Councilman Dixon said, then why save it for Route 66? And I told him, because it is on Route 66. It is, we can't change that. So it doesn't matter if they're coming for that reason, not so much what they see there. So I'm hoping we can at least discuss, and the council could discuss the best location and not just rush into where we put it, and also have some kind of direction of what direction do we want the city to go. What are we promoting, and what location would it be best to promote the hash knife? Which location is best to promote on Route 66? And everything else that we have to offer.
All right, thank you very much, appreciate it. All right, next, we have David Newland on the hash knife statue.
Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, my name is David Newland. I live at 611 West Florida. I have read some of the comments about the marquee on the statue of the hash knife, which has been worked on for many, many years. I'd like to express very much appreciation to Mildred Founts and Ophelia Lang, who were at least two of the many people named that have contributed and made that statue a reality. I think that it and the marquee can exist in a close proximity. I think the marquee should stay where it is. I think it's very important that that marquee with the announcements on it is right where it is at that very important corner. But there are a lot of other things to do with that corner, including a building cat at corner for sale that has an obnoxious sign on the top of it that could be dealt with, although it's been there for too long. Whatever happens, I've got a number of ideas for working that statue so that it's really a monument of the community. I'll save those for the powers that be, but whatever it is, it needs to be a very good attraction. But I think there's room for not having a great controversy about it and placing both that can be a benefit to the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. And then finally we have Tammy Gray.
I'm Tammy Gray. I live on Encanto Drive in Holbrook and have for more than 20 years. I'm going to start by apologizing. My parents, I got called really quick to go babysit and I didn't have time to go home. I didn't have time to bring the documents I wanted to give to you to show you. I posted about this on Facebook, as a lot of you have probably heard. There were a lot of different comments, and as incoming Councilman Robert Black mentioned, that only represents one portion of the community, but the portion of the community that responded generally wanted the marquee to stay. And I support that as well. I'm gonna echo David Newland and say I don't understand why we can't have both. I think both are important to the community. I support the hash knife. I'm excited they're finally getting their statue. They've wanted this for so long, the community's wanted this. I mean, it's thrilling that they're finally getting it. But taking one thing down to place another when we already have so little, and that corner looks so nice right now, especially compared to the things around it, I think just takes away from Holbrook to take one more thing away. And also, it bothers me the fact that the entities that went into bringing the marquee to town, Navajo County, the school district, and the chamber, raised the money for that. They were not given an opportunity to be in on discussions before this was just told to the chamber that this is what's gonna happen. And this is coming from my talking to Daniela Clark, who was president at the time this happened. And she told me that they come in, they were told that the chamber would bear the cost of removing that marquee. And that the chamber had no choice, this was already said and done, it was happening. So the chamber, as far as I can tell, and from everyone I've talked to, has had no voice in this whatsoever. They're an important part of our community. They should have a voice. The school district, from what I understand, has offered to contribute some money either to help with moving or help with repairs. And don't hold me to that, that's what I've been told. So, but again, my point of the community and the organizations that helped get this in have not been part of the conversation. Same thing with Navajo County. Navajo County has indicated they're willing to help. They have not been brought into the conversation. And what bothers me even more than that is being told by Daniela Clark that when she was president of the chamber, she tried to gather all the entities together, those three, the chamber, the school district, and Navajo County, and the Hash Knife, and the city. And she told me that Ted Soltis, your city manager, flat out refused to meet. Now, I have not had an opportunity to talk to Dr. Corporich with the school, and I know tonight he's at a concert. I was told by more than one person that he also tried to contact our city manager about that and was not able, he didn't get return calls, he got a single return call finally that said that this is not something that needs to be met about. And so I can't verify those facts, I haven't had time to talk to everybody, but I feel like that's part of the responsibility of the council members and the staff is to get that input and to find out what's actually been happening and what's actually said and make decisions from there. And my opinion is that this is very much a council decision, not a decision made by a few people who get together and talk about it and then say. And I'm also told that 2 years ago the council made a decision. And once again, I haven't had time to fully look into that, but my understanding is that we're playing with semantics here. That the council approved that the statue would go at the corner, or at the park on the corner. I take that to mean a reference to Gillespie Park, which is the park that is at the corner of Navajo and Hopi. I do not take that to mean the statue will go at the park on the corner, to mean the statue will go precisely in the corner. In addition, I can't find, and I haven't had full time to do this, but I think that the council, or they can ask staff to do so, can look into whether the council ever actually gave permission for the marquee to be taken down. That's not a day-to-day operation of the city. That's a decision for the council to make, not for anyone else to make. Under the council manager form of government, which I know some of you at least are familiar with, the city manager's role is to do day-to-day operations. The council is responsible for making other decisions. Now the council can put anything they want on the agenda. They can ask city staff to research those things, to bring them in the information. But what I've been seeing is they're relying on a sole source. Is that my time?
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
I would
thank
just
you.
like you to hold everything in open meeting and go back and revisit this properly.
Right, thank you.
you.
All right. That was the last of our call to the public for agenda items, so we will move into item number 7, new business for discussion and possible action. A will be our Hash Knife statue update. We have Pat Nichols and Mark Reynolds from the Hash Knife here to give us a presentation. We'll turn the time over to you.
Pat's gonna talk.
Pat's gonna talk.
Mayor, council, good evening. Mark gave me this lovely responsibility because he couldn't dress up tonight in his duds. He's got another meeting to go to, but I just want to give you a little history. In 2008, the Hash Knife did their 50th anniversary ride. We left Holbrook with a Super Bowl football that we carried horseback all the way down through Payson into Scottsdale, and we delivered that ball to the Super Bowl that year. Being our 50th anniversary, the city of Scottsdale decided to honor us with a statue, monument, however you want it, and they unveiled a statue in Old Town Scottsdale on Marshall Way that is, any of you have seen it, is quite phenomenal. And it was very moving for the Hash Knife to see the recognition and the hard work that is put into our organization to be recognized. And a few of us got together, decided that why can't Holbrook recognize and be part of the tradition that the Hash Knife was. Also during that year, being our 50th anniversary, we were recognized as a national historical event. The governor of Arizona at that time designated the route that we ride to be a historical route, and they put up markers. You can see signs if you ever go down Phoenix through Basin, all the way along that route, honoring the historical event during that 50th ride. On the way home, after all of those festivities and everything, we kind of decided, you know what? Holbrook needs a monument to honor and appreciate the hard work that this community has put into recognizing the Hash Knife and what they bring to this community and to the state and this area. Granted, Route 66 has been here for 71 years when it was declared a National Historic Event. And it does come through right through Holbrook, and we are the only 90-degree turn. Is there two of them?
Albuquerque.
Okay, Albuquerque's got one. Albuquerque doesn't count. But
It's probably an African.
we worked and put together small fundraisers, and it wasn't coming to fruition. And we thought, 3 years ago, we started sitting down and says, we talked about this 10, 12 years ago, and we're just not getting anywhere. If we're gonna make this happen, we need to start this and do it ourselves. So Captain Reynolds, myself, and a few other Hash Knife members put together committees, and we started meeting with first the artist, one of the artists that actually did some of the designs for the statue in Scottsdale. He was not the actual artist, but he submitted artwork. We got with him to get a price on what it would cost to do a bronze statue, life-size. He got so excited about it, he said, I will do it for cost because I want to see that statue over, which was a very good start. We met with the city, we met with the county, we tried meeting with the chamber. We've done all of our homework. We've been graced with more than an outpouring of wonderful people trying to make this dream come true. Mildred Fouts and Ophelia Lane should be commended. The amount of work that they put into this is outstanding. The community and the surrounding area, 95% of the money raised for that $80,000 statue came from personal people, not businesses, from the people in this community. And I feel like it is a good idea. It's something that, along with Route 66 and the Hash Knife, we can put this town and bring more tourism and attractions. It is, we carry mail from all over the world every year. It's a lot of work, and I think the people that started this in 1956 need to be honored and recognized, and I believe it's, the monument on the corner fits right in with the Route 66 as part of what Holbrook stands for. Just to let you know, the rock and the design of that whole Gillespie Park was done by Mildred Fouts. She has been instrumental in helping with the statue. She did not want the rock moved, and we don't want the rock moved. Route 66 is here to stay, and we're very much part of that. But I believe the hash knife is very much part of Holbrook and this area. So, just to kind of voice my personal opinion, it's human nature not to want to change. You get used to your daily routines. You like your, you get comfortable with your evening slippers and hot cup of cocoa, and you enjoy those things, and it's comfortable. And when change is introduced, it's difficult. It's just natural to feel that way. But in my eyes, I have seen the people that are most successful, the businesses that are most successful, the towns and cities that are most successful are the ones that do accept change and are able to utilize that change to their best benefit. Granted, the marquee is a wonderful and has been a wonderful item for many, many years. But it's a piece of equipment, just like an automobile, that will wear out with time and need repairs or fixing up, which again gets costly, and sometimes parts are not available, which is part of the problem with the marquee. Now, the hash knife is not against the marquee. We've tried to work with, we've made suggestions. In my opinion, I think it would be a wonderful idea to accept the goal of putting together a brand new idea for a new marquee, and let's get something modern that works and go with that next idea. Just voicing my opinion, but nothing against the marquee. But that marquee is at end of life. It's gonna need to come down anyway. And I feel like it's a very good location to honor and dedicate something that is, in my opinion, the hash knife is very important to this community. To recognize the people that have put in all the hard work. This monument, I fully support, so. Council, you have any questions?
Thank you for your presentation. We appreciate it. Can you give us a timeline on what to expect over the next month?
Timeline, yes, I was gonna go over that. Next week, we have a licensed bonding contractor. Wednesday, December 14th is gonna come in and dismantle the marquee and prep the ground for the statue. There's very little prep work. Most everything will not be disturbed. The rock and pebbles will stay. The marquee and the planter are gonna go away. From December 16th through January 1st, there's the statue platform and the brick layout design people will be working down there. Everyone that had purchased bricks to help support the cost of the statue, they will be laying those bricks in a 3-foot walkway around the existing cement that's there holding up the marquee. That's not going away. We're gonna utilize that, and we're gonna put the bricks around that marquee so that it's an actual walkway that you can walk around the monument. Those people will be working on that through January 1st. January 12th, approximately, the artist from Utah, Scott Rogers, will be here with the statue to actually help supervise the placement of the statue on, it's going on a 2-foot cement platform. And he's gonna supervise the placement of the statue. He has suggested that we cover it until the dedication on January 31st. I think that's probably a good idea, but And then on January 31st is the send-off for the 65th anniversary ride for the Hash Knife. There will be a small parade. The riders will come into the Lisby Park. The statue will be dedicated. We do have some speakers, but the dedication to this statue is going to the community and all the hard work that they put in to keeping this historical event going for 65 years. After the dedication, the riders will be sworn in and prepared for takeoff for the 65th anniversary ride. Any other questions?
Councilman Wilford?
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully you guys can help me recollect. When I was appointed a year ago, May, shortly thereafter, I remember a discussion about the statue, the fundraising, the placement of it, the removal of the marquee. Conversation included Pony Express Hash Knife. I believe the chamber was here at the time, but no county rep or no school board rep. And the discussion was, well, them are the three entities that were involved with the marquee, managing it, the cost share of the electronics, the updates of the marquee, the database, all that stuff. Correct?
They're shaking their heads no from the chamber that they weren't there. So maybe there was not in,
Okay.
they may not have been aware of the meeting.
But I do recollect the conversation.
It's a
yes.
regular meeting. That's a similar update.
Yeah, an update, right? I don't think there was a vote on the placement of it. Part of that conversation too, I do, because I've talked to several people who've approached me or I've talked to about the statue, was one of the donations was 50% of the cost, and that donor insisted that that statue be placed on a corner. So,
I'm
but now
unaware
I just,
of anybody that donated 50%.
has it ever been said that this donor insists if before he makes this big donation, whether it be 50% or 25 or?
Nobody donated 50%.
Okay, so that's what I recollect from the conversation, but it's
I
over
remember
here.
that as well, but I don't.
All right, so that isn't an issue then, where the placement of the statue goes? Whether
No.
it goes to the courthouse or down Navajo
So,
or?
kind of stepping back through the timeline, once we got a firm or a price from the artists, then we started working on the location. We went directly to Robbie Cobridge and asked him if he had a problem with taking down the marquee, or if the school district was actually interested in utilizing the marquee, and they said no, they were not interested in it.
There was a quote in the August 2021 newspaper at a chamber meeting saying he would like to see it relocated if possible. I don't know if that still is take now, but that was a quote from 2021.
So we've tried to get a location, we've tried to get several of the entities that might be interested in it into giving us a spot where they would want it relocated. We're willing to relocate it.
And just for public information, I checked with Director Cindy DeFoy before this, if I could share these numbers that she shared with me on the concern, because we said it is at the end of its life on the marquee. They said Yesco is the company that they use, and they were quoted, they said once the parts start going down, they just aren't able to find the parts. And so to update the insides of it would be $36,000. And then to relocate it to a different spot would be an additional $30,000. So you're talking $66,000. And then the concern too is, where do you put it? Who's gonna help maintain it? And the electric, it's not necessarily even just the cost of the marquee itself, it's maintenance was a concern for a lot of the entities on where to move it, because it is a large expense. So those are just some numbers. So
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem. Yeah, because I do remember the conversation too about, where would this market be relocated if somebody, business or something was gonna accept that. But yeah, but I don't ever recollect a vote by the council that this was the, so the other question on that, and Ms. Gray brought this up, was, who's financing the contract for this removal and the placement?
Okay, the contractor is Griffin Hurley of Hurley Contracting out of Payson, Arizona. I have his certificate of insurance, license and bond here. He is a licensed bonded contractor. He's also a member of the Hash Knife.
So was this part of the fundraising that's paying for this?
He came to us and offered to do the construction part down there for no cost.
Pro bono?
Yes.
Alright, so there's no cost, the city's flipping no cost of this removal, replacement, installation?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
So, Councilman Kester, oh, did you have an
No.
additional question? We can come back to you. So, Councilman Kester.
I've got a couple comments. Pony Express and Route 66 are the two biggest things that this town can make money on. Probably 30 years ago, I told somebody that how to get that money for that rider. I said, you go to Wrangler, Tony Lama, Saddle Makers, Bridle Makers, everybody. Tony Stetson had their advertising on it. You know what would happen if they would have did it then? We would have had 2 statues. We probably had enough money to buy 3 statues and put one in Payson and put one here and every place else. And the second thought was, you haven't had your coins for years, and I understand why. But I said, if you went to the Franklin Mint and had them make your coins, authorize them to sell them, so they make their money, and you could have got 50 cents from every coin they sold, and you would have had $1 million in a year. But the Pony Express would have had to go out here every Saturday in January and work that area, and every motel in this town, in Winslow and Snowflake, would have been full of riders and full of people all January long. And probably all the way to Scottsdale, they would have had people from all foreign countries. They love the Pony Express, and so do I. I could never join it because my wife wouldn't allow me.
Thank you.
I won't go into that
We
detail.
actually did contact some major vendors, Wrangler, Stetson, area. There were some major letters, I think we sent out 6. And because of COVID, it's just the wrong time to solicit funds, but we did not, we were not very successful with the larger corporations.
And since we're on comments with the marquee, I'm gonna make my comment what I think about it. I don't like it. And I'll tell you why I don't like it. I sit over at Pat's, and if you're sitting at Pat's and you try to read that marquee, or if you're standing over there where this old bus station is, or you're standing at Vince's place, and you're trying to read that and a truck comes by, you can't read it. Because it just blocks it. And I'm a slow reader, so sometimes there's things on it takes me 2 or 3 times waiting to see what come around and come around and come around.
All right, thank you, Councilman Kester. Councilman
Thank
Marsh.
you.
Appreciate it.
I have a couple comments. Now that, well, my opinion matters, just on the books for a couple more minutes. The first is that this doesn't require a permit, doesn't require an ordinance, and it doesn't require a resolution, and therefore it is not an actionable item that I think the city council needs to be approving in any formal way. That being said, we of course are able and should be providing our opinions and those of our constituents to the city manager and relevant partners. And to my knowledge, we have been, as we've heard them and come forward with them. The biggest one lately for me has been folks who are concerned about the rock moving. The rock's not moving, and that's great. The marquee, as we pointed out, is far out of warranty. It's hard to find parts. It's really expensive. And I stood under it in the rain on the parade, and the lights are already going out. It doesn't look good as it is, and we don't need another thing in Holbrook slowly decaying until we figure out what to do with it. I think it's time to take the marquee down, put the statue up. Again, my personal opinion. And the city manager's indicated that the city can buy another marquee with investments from our partners to upkeep it and pay for electricity, and we can put another marquee somewhere else. And finally, potentially most importantly, at least again from my personal opinion, is that Holbrook is literally here where it is because of overlying routes of trade and commerce and livelihoods. And that includes ancestral Puebloans, and includes the Old Trails Highway, it includes Route 66, it includes the hash knife routes, and includes I-40. These things are not mutually exclusive, so I don't see an inconsistency with a hash knife statue in front of a Route 66 sign when that's part of who our community is, and these things are all interwoven and they aren't standalone. The dinosaur out there, you guys know I'm a paleontologist. I didn't understand why that dinosaur statue was in Gillespie Park. It got moved to what I think is arguably a better place. This is not a dinosaur statue. This is something that I think is interwoven in terms of our history and our resources, and I don't see an inconsistency or an incompatibility in the message that it would be sending in that location. So thank you.
Right, thank you. All right. Thank you, Hash Knife, for presenting. We appreciate it. Oh, sorry, Councilman Dixon, I forgot about you. Sorry. Did you have any comment?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank Pat and Mark for all their research and all their hard work on the statue. And I really look forward to that statue being placed in Holbrook at Gillespie Park. And as the mayor had indicated, that it would be very costly to replace and or move that marquee. So it's an antiquated device, and nobody comes to Holbrook and says, wow, what a great marquee, or what a great, it's an electronic signboard is what it is. Nobody comes to Holbrook and says, what a great signboard, or what a great marquee. They will, however, come to Holbrook and see that statue in its place and say, what a great statue, let's explore Holbrook a little bit more. I think it's going to be a great addition, and I look forward to it being there. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. One last thing. Councilman Woodward, Councilman Marsh, Councilman Kestner, great job, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And so, my thoughts for the citizens that came out, and I appreciate you coming out. It's, we keep saying we want people to come out and tell us what your concerns are, and we don't want you to stop coming for it. They're valid concerns. Mark, we are listening. We've got budget talks coming up. And for Robin and David and Tammy, your voices have heard too. So what we're finding in this process is, as a city, we need to do a better job of communicating and bringing the right people to the table. And so we have heard you. Like Councilman Marsh said, there's policies in place that, and maybe that's something as the new council comes that we address. What should a council vote be? When is that appropriate? And when is it just appropriate for the city manager to make those decisions? Things like that. So that's something that the new council is going to have to address, because we want to make sure our voices are heard throughout this. Part of that'll be, and we're hearing you too, we are a very diverse community, and so as part of the strategic planning that will be coming up, it's like we need to have a master plan in place, and so it's not just one item at a time. Actually, Mr. Newland, I had an idea with yours. It's like, you're right, there's some potential projects that we can do if we can invest in it, and we can, I won't say them out loud because I don't want to start any rumors, but it sparked an idea of maybe a potential solution to the issue here. And what we'd like to do is get more community involvement, because this is our community. We want to make sure we're celebrating this statue, because it's a great asset to Holbrook, and we're thankful for it. And so we don't want to lose our identity for any of these, from our Route 66 to our hash knife to our paleontology to our cultural heritage, and and this new council, they're already excited. I know the old council that's still staying, I shouldn't call you the old and the new, sorry, Councilman Nielsen. You know, but anyways, so we have heard your concerns and we will take that into consideration and make sure that going forward, when something like this happens again, that there's better communication between the city and those entities involved, and especially our community members. So we do appreciate you coming out. All right, with that, we'd like to go on to item number B of new business for a bid for the heating cooling system for the community center. Tim Kelly.
Good evening, Council. Community building, if you're not familiar with it, it's a small building that is just west of the library. It's been there for probably 60 years that I can remember. My grandmother used to take me there to play bingo with her, and I think I was about 4. So, anyway, we're doing a remodel on it so we can utilize it to lease out to people in the community for birthdays, baby showers, wedding showers, what have you, just like we do with Machusac. So it's in the final stretches of being remodeled right now. Mike Young is finishing up the kitchen, and we'll be just about done with it. With that, it is currently being heated by a heater that is probably as old as the building by looking at it now and the repairs I've had to do on it. It's a closet heater. Also, it's cooled with an evaporated swamp cooler. So with the remodel, we're wanting to replace that with an HVAC system. So I did. I went out and I got 3 quotes from 3 different companies. One being Advanced Air, and their quote was $13,514. Another one from Mountain Comfort and Heating, which was $2,909. And then AZE Electric, and their quote was $2,200. So I'm asking the council if we can approve the quote for AZE Electric at the cost of $2,200 to put in a complete HVAC system to the community building.
You meant to say $12,200.
$12,200. Whatever I said.
Yeah, we'll take 3.
Whatever the paper says in front of you.
And do you know what, has this been budgeted for this year?
Yeah, we have the resources.
Thank you. All right, any questions for Mr. Kelly?
I'm just glad to see that it's a local business. So,
Close
I
enough.
bet AZ Electric is, oh, it's Winslow or Holbrook?
Oh, Winslow.
We don't have a business like that in Holbrook.
It says Winslow, contact us at Winslow.
Contractor from
Okay.
Winslow.
All right, believe my lap.
It's local enough.
But it's close enough.
Local enough.
Yes.
Any additional questions for Mr. Kelly? All right, do I have a motion for approval for this item?
So moved. Oh, sorry.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, with that, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Jim. Any
Thank
opposed?
you.
Okay, motion carries.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll move on to new business. Item number C, Police Department Annual Report by Chief Christensen.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, thank you. Council, thank you. Before you have a copy of our annual report, I'm not gonna go through it word for word, just kind of highlight some of the things. And this year, our calls for service increased from 4,717 to 5,416, which was a 14, almost 15% increase. We have been working throughout the year with an average of 7 officers, which includes myself and Lieutenant Kuhn in the call rotation. We do have a officer graduating from the academy tomorrow. Amber Shalendawa, her dad works for the city, and she will start her 12-week field training and her 1-year probation on Sunday. We have another officer who's currently out on extended medical leave, scheduled to retire in March of next year. And once he leaves, we'll have 3 vacancies, as long as we can maintain the ones that we currently have. For information, we only received 4 applications this year, and out of those 4, we were able to hire 1 person. Some things of concern to us as a department this past year is assaults against the officers increased from previous years. We also experienced an increase in resisting arrest, which led to assaults against the officers. I don't know the reason why. I can speculate that it's probably social media and the attack on law enforcement throughout the country that has caused people to be more brazen with us. We had stolen vehicles. I don't think I already have it on here. It went up by 38%. The majority of those stolen vehicles were committed by one person who the city or the county attorneys will not prosecute because he has a Rule 11 where he's been unfit to stand trial, although he knows what he's doing. We continue to arrest him for all of his crimes. He commits a lot of shoplifting, assaults, and vehicle thefts here and in Winslow. He'll steal a car in Winslow to come to Holbrook, and then he'll steal a car from Holbrook to get back to Winslow. So we encourage, citizens to keep their cars locked and keys not in the ignition. His latest car theft, a person stopped off at Speedway and left their car running and went inside to get coffee and came out to have his car stolen by this subject. So that's the person that we deal with, and he's also one who commits assaults against our officers, and so we're kind of at a loss of what to do because we get no cooperation from the county because his Rule 11 where he's been found unfit to stand trial. So that's something that we've been dealing with. We did increase our traffic stops and warnings and tickets, and you can see that on your paperwork. It is a huge increase. After COVID, things kind of slowed down for us a little bit in 2021, and then we encouraged the officers to initiate some more self-initiated activity this past year, which you can see that they did in their citations. Graffiti went up by 83%. And a lot of it included cars being painted and or scratched, with sharp objects. Our DUIs went up 50%, and interestingly enough, I was one of those that I picked somebody up just last week. And for someone who hadn't done a DUI since 2006, it was a new experience. I actually couldn't even do it myself because I don't have the card that's required to run the intox machine anymore. So, yeah, I'm back to my roots. I feel like I'm on field training again. So anyway, I don't have any more. You guys can read through some of the cases that we dealt with. There's a thing towards the bottom of the page. It's pretty sad. You can see that 300% increase. And that's sad, but I think it's just a sign of the times, and still recovering from being put down and people being, losing their jobs and being stuck at their homes during the COVID. I think that attributed to that staff. And I'm open to any questions or comments that you may have.
Councilman Marsh.
Are there any overarching trends in drug-related crimes in terms of what's coming in or out of the community?
That would be better answered by the sheriff's office. They handle more of that. We don't really have a drug unit there are drugs in this town. Our biggest drug is alcohol. And the majority of the crimes that we see are alcohol related.
Any other councilwoman have a question?
Seems the juvenile arrest so high. Is there clearly a trend there?
Those came from a certain kid who's now an adult. The majority of those increases were that same individual who's now an adult.
Okay. And could you just explain to us that you said Section 11, what makes somebody unfit for trial? Then aren't they fit for
So apparently this individual had a head injury, head trauma, and he was seen by psychiatrists or whatever that deemed him unfit to stand trial, that doesn't know what he's doing. But if you met the person, and you would know that he knows what he's doing. But the cost to get somebody taken off of a Rule 11 ruling is exponential. Will require incarceration like the state mental hospital, which is a cost to the county, and I believe it was upwards of like $7,000 a month to have somebody housed in that facility. I've directed my officers to continue to arrest him regardless until we're told otherwise. And if we are ever told otherwise, I'm gonna request that be in writing, so when victims come forward, I can hand them a letter from the entities that say so, and they can deal with that. It's a tough situation, and I understand both sides. It's a tough situation, but somebody like that eventually is gonna do something worse.
Or run into somebody that wants to protect their property real bad.
Correct.
That's a concern that we should be concerned about. Councilman Holbrook.
First and foremost, thank you, Chief, for especially having to step up to the plate with your short manpower and stuff. So appreciate seeing you out there on the streets helping. On this individual with repeated crimes, bolos for the, like you said, Speedway, is that like a regular place he does things?
He goes to most of the convenience stores in town and shoplifts to feed himself.
I guess what I'm trying to get to is, can we post a picture of this guy? He's been charged, he's just not being brought to justice. But for the community, because that's just gonna lead to other crime. He crosses over onto private property and then guns are out, you know, so it just, but making aware that, hey, this person is, you know, hanging out there in front of Speedway or Maverick, you know.
Right, I don't believe that legally we could post his picture, as an entity. I believe the property owners could do that if they chose that, but the city itself, due to their civil rights, we would not be able to post a picture of that individual.
Cool. Well, thank you for what you and your officers are doing for the community.
Councilman Custer.
Juvenile arrest, is that due to, it's doubled, is that due to graffiti mainly, or?
No, the graffiti is actually a little bit difficult to catch. They're doing it usually late at night, and if they don't leave evidence around, it's hard for us to catch them. There's so many places that you can buy paint. I mean, if we had one specific source where people could buy paint, we could probably track them down. No, these are warrant arrests. These are burglaries from businesses and things like that. That did that increase.
Councilman Dixon, did you have any comments or questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So I have a quick question and comment. We do appreciate it, and as our chief of police, you know, it's tough watching you have to go out on patrol, and I know there's concerns as far as all the extra hours and the overtime of our officers because we are on the short staff. You mentioned we only had 4 applicants, we're only able to get 1. Lieutenant Kuhn was able to come in as a citizen for us and express some of the concerns that he had, and you know, and it goes down to the safety of our officers, which also affects the safety of our citizens. So it is a concern to each of us, and after his comments, you know, our council members each showed support to our police department, and Vice Mayor Payne even said, hey, you know, what can we do? I'm open to suggestions. And so with that, I would like to say, you know, we should be asking our department head, you know, what do you believe what the suggestions are that you think that maybe we can entice, you know, more applicants to Holbrook? So if you wouldn't mind, I would like to put you on the December 22nd City Council agenda. If you can come back with your recommendations, and as a council, we can see what's reasonable, you know, within the budget and things like that. We understand there's extra cost, but we want to make sure our people are protected first. And so if we have to kind of make some modifications to our budget to say, okay, maybe we're gonna have to hold off on maybe buying a used backhoe this time, you know, to make sure we have, our officers are protected, because the last thing we need is our officers getting hurt. And if they're already tired because they're doing overtime and they're getting more assaults, we don't want to be putting our officers in that. And that's going to be a hard time for us to attract any additional officer too. So if you would mind coming back on December 22nd and give us another, we'll put you on the agenda for a discussion of possible action. I'm not sure. We'll have to pull out the budgets and see what your recommendations are, but we'd love to hear from you if you could.
Okay.
So thank you. And so City Manager Soltis, if you can add him to our December 22nd.
I was just gonna say,
agenda.
December 22nd is a holiday for the city, so we weren't gonna have a meeting that day. We closed the office at 12 o'clock on December 22nd. So to have a meeting that day, someone would have to come in. I'm not gonna have Lisa come in on her holiday for that meeting, so we were planning on canceling that meeting. So perhaps we should go with the January meeting instead.
Well, part of me doesn't want to keep putting things off.
It's not putting things
you
off,
know.
it's a holiday.
That's not a holiday. I'm just saying there's a valid concern right now with
It is.
the security. So I guess it'll be up to the city council if they would like to, the new city council members. Or we can maybe do it on a different day, maybe on a, we could call it a special meeting.
We could do it on the Tuesday that week.
That Tuesday of that week, right, so.
Just be a few minutes, I mean,
Yeah,
half hour.
it won't take long, but we want the police department to know we are serious when we say we support you. And that's our biggest thing, and it's like, and especially with these numbers, we don't want our officers hurt. And like you said, you know, it's gonna start coming into people's homes. I mean, we've already had that incident a few weeks ago with people coming in, you know, into 2 different people's homes, and it, you know, gunshots, you know, it could go bad quickly. And so we wanna just make sure that we're doing all that we can as a city to protect our officers and our citizens. So I will get with our new council members and our existing council members, see if maybe we can move it to that Tuesday, which would be the 20th.
Sounds like.
So, and make sure that fits with everybody's schedule. So, I will get back to you after I discuss it with the council, and, so when we do that. Thank you, Vice Mayor Payne's good, Councilman Nielsen is shaking his head, but he's checking his calendar too, so.
Thank you, I have another appointment I need to get to, if that's okay.
No, and we appreciate you coming in, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate your officers, so, all right.
That's good.
Perfect, thank you. All right, this is gonna be a bittersweet time of the agenda now, so we'll do our summary of current events. Let me grab mine, I was taking notes on it. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Holbrook Chamber of Commerce, all their volunteers and all the participants for a great parade again. It was, thankfully the rain held off just enough, right, that we weren't miserable, and I believe Cindy Tafoya said they still had 80% of their participants, you know, still decided to weather the storm and come out, and we appreciate it. It was a fantastic parade, so we appreciate all your work. And with that, also, we'd like to also thank the Coalition of Churches and all their volunteers and entertainers and participants for the Festival of Trees. And for both of these events, we can't do it without volunteers and the participants. And it's hard, everybody's busy, and we're saying, hey, put in a float and put in a tree, but without people willing to step up and do it, you know, we wouldn't have much to look at. So we appreciate our citizens stepping up and making it a great holiday season for everybody to come out, and a great event for families to come up to. I know a lot of people come up out of, you know, from wherever they're living now and come back to Holbrook. That's kind of our homecoming sometimes, so thank you for that. There is more volunteerism going on, and we appreciate sometimes our nonprofits in the area, they don't get enough credit. They're kind of getting an older generation. I'm not trying to call I'm calling everybody old tonight, aren't I?
Okay.
Older, but we've got the Elks and the Kiwanis and the Lions Club and the Food Bank. They've got events throughout the rest of this month, you know, helping especially our families that are in need this Christmas. And it's a hard time, especially be a child and at Christmas time. And we sat there with Santa last week, and I just felt bad for those moms when they'd ask Santa for the newest Nintendo or whatever. We try to tell them, I think Santa's out of parts, you know, try to help out the parents here. But let's not forget our Christmas concerts put on our music departments from the school district. I know a couple of our council, at least Councilwoman-elect's missing a concert tonight, so, but we appreciate the concerts, you know, and it's a fun part of the season here. Other things really quickly, I've continued to share my input with the Real Arizona marketing team as they work on rebranding their local for their economic development site, and just so you know, they are looking for professional photos that highlight some of Holbrook's assets to put on this website. And so they do want quality photos, they could do it. Anybody that would be interested in maybe submitting some of their photography, they won't get compensation for it, but they will get an artistic acknowledgement for it on the website for it. So we'd love your pictures, so you can find my email on our city website. So reach out to me, we'll get with you and see if we can add your photography photos to the website. And this is our economic development site for Navajo County, so we want to make sure we've got our best photos there. So there's a CDBG grant that we just found out about. Councilman Nielsen and I are going to look to see if we can try to put something together quickly for the senior center. Unfortunately, we'd have to do the first presentation on Tuesday, and then it's due the week after that. So we're hoping, but hopefully we can get it. It's a tight timeline, but I'm hoping we can come back in January and have a little bit of success, or at least, we're going to find out what we can do. So. Our deepest sympathies, honestly, to the Mestis family and the loss of their daughter, Wendy. I think most of us have had some contact with her, bubbly personality from Wayside. And then even when she wasn't able to get around as well and things like that, she really did have an infectious attitude. She was always, first one to cheer somebody on and to, make somebody feel better. And so her spirit will be missed. So, and last, but definitely not least, we do want to thank our councilmen for their last night here, Councilman Kester, Councilman Marsh, and Councilman Woodford. We expect more communication still with you. I know you guys all said you're still going to be around, and you guys are great volunteers, and I know a lot of you already have projects in mind, and so this won't be the last that we see you, but we do appreciate your service. It's hard to sit up on a council and, to be up here, you put yourself in a vulnerable spot to be, critiqued and, and we do the best we can, but we appreciate your service and we're thankful you did it. And people call you old. I forgot to color my hair tonight too, so I'm in that. So, with that, I'd like to turn the time over to Vice Mayor Payne if you have anything.
Just a brief thank you very much to the chamber. Parade was wonderful as always, and it's amazing how much that lifts everybody's spirits. And I was involved with it for several years, and I gripe about it before I got here, but I sure enjoyed that day. And I thought I read better than I do apparently. I went to the courthouse during the day to go see what was on sale, and there wasn't anything. And I hope that will come back maybe next year. But I certainly enjoyed the parade, and I certainly enjoyed the Festival of Trees. It really does. It's amazing to me. I know one gal who does 5 trees. I can't think of something for one, but she does an amazing job every year with 5 trees, and which might be one of the reasons she was just named the Woman of the Year. So, if anybody, I'm not speaking code. It's Nicole Young, but anyway, my thanks to Nicole and all those souls like her who really look forward to doing the trees, and. My condolences also to Pee Wee and to Yvonne and their families on the loss of Wendy. I know that she was so uplifting on Facebook, and I noticed in her obituary, I saw it today, that her family was sending their love and comfort to a variety of people, including her Facebook friends, because she really did have a positive spin for things, and she was an appreciated voice. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Marsh?
Yeah, coming up on the 17th, which is next Saturday, the animal shelter and the Friends of the Holbrook Animal Shelter are holding a Santa Paws event. So you can come and bring your lizard or your dog or your dinosaur statue and have it taken a photo with Santa Paws. Please bring a $12 cash donation. That goes towards helping the animal shelter and the Friends group recoup some of their costs in the year. So that's coming up. And I subject you to a couple more of my manic opinions. But I'm really honored to have served the city and the citizens of Holbrook for now 4 years, which is incredible. And I want to thank the citizens especially, and as well as my fellow council, for allowing me that opportunity. I'm proud of the work that our city council has accomplished during that amount of time, including hiring a professional city manager, passing budgets that ran into black, and gave important raises for city employees, and then of course providing policies that are laying the foundation for bringing Holbrook into the next generation of its life as a city. Though not without fun disagreement at times, I've enjoyed working with my fellow council members. I applaud the city manager for an incredible amount of work that he does day to day to fix issues with our code and forms and encourage growth of existing and new businesses and support, of course, the city staff. I think going forward, our city can do a better job communicating these seemingly small but significant tasks and business items so that citizens can fully appreciate all the hard work that Ted and the city employees are doing for us. Our town has had a long, long history that has gotten us to where we are today, for better or for worse. And we'll continue to take time to address our shortcomings, but also to continue to highlight our strengths. I want to personally encourage the citizens of Holbrook to take a more active role in your government. This is a very encouraging site for me. Start by reading the charter. It's on the city website. Especially the roles and authorities of individual branches of our city government. Review the meetings and the minutes, the agendas and the minutes, which are also posted to our website. And make a meeting with somebody up here, or with Ted, or with your city department lead that lives down the street, and really engage and talk. Remember that Facebook is not an open forum, nor is it a place to get reliable information, although you get a lot of reliable opinions, including mine. The city council is here to work for you. But we rely on open meeting laws and similar protections to continue to provide fair and equitable and honest information and decision-making capabilities, again, for the citizens. I for one will continue to serve the city however I can, and I hope next council knows, notice I said the next and not the new council. The next council knows that I am not shy and I'm available to provide these opinions as a ongoing citizen. And may they make decisions on behalf of, again, all of us as citizens. So thank you again, everybody. We'll see you in the streets.
Thank you. Councilman Wolford.
Yeah, ditto, Dr. Marsh. I didn't write me out, I think. I'm not as, yeah. He's had a lot of experience with that PhD writing, so I'll keep mine short and sweet. But very humbling experience to be appointed to this council and to represent you, the community, the people. What a pleasure. Growing up here, I know most everybody in town, or the older ones for sure, Kathleen. But it's been great. A great experience. I encourage everybody, get involved, because what I've learned being on this side of the bench really opened my eyes to the power of the community, showing up to these meetings and letting your voice be heard. Very important, because we can only talk on your behalf when we know what you want to talk about. So definitely encourage involvement. And you'll see me out there. I've got a couple of projects. I love to volunteer, and now I have more time to volunteer. One of my pet peeves is the humane shelter. We've got so many poor animals up there that just need an hour of somebody donating to go walk or feed or clean. But we've got, the mayor brought up several events coming up here I'd like to talk about. We've got the Lunch with Santa, Clothe the Child coming up on the 17th, sponsored by the Elks and the Masons. So always looking for volunteers for that, to take kids shopping at Walmart or come and hand out gifts at the Elks Lodge. We've got the Christmas lunch, Christmas morning. So I know Pat is cooking all night Christmas Eve. That's where he spends his Christmas Eve for I don't know how many years, but cooking up turkeys and all the the sides, but always could use folks to donating food for this dinner that we deliver to all the businesses that have employees working on Christmas Day, plus a lot of our community that are a little bit less fortunate. So, biggest part of a good community and a proud community is the togetherness and supporting one another. And one last note, I'm looking forward to seeing that statue, wherever it is. Pony Express, thank you, Pat and Mark, for everything you've done to get that to happen, because as a young kid, I always remember going to the courthouse. Uncle was the sheriff, and that was always a big event for the riders to ride off. So, thank you. And again, you'll see me out there. And don't run for me. I promise I won't beg you to come and help me volunteer cleaning dog kennels. But if you want to, hunt me down. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Councilman Wolford. Councilman Dixon, so I don't forget about you. Do you have anything?
Thank you. Yes, I want to thank Councilman Wolford, Councilman Marsh, and Councilman Chester for their service in, we live in a great republic in the United States, and this is the way we do business, and the representation of the citizens. I just want to thank each one of you for your service on the City Council, and you will be missed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Nielsen.
Besides Wendy, we've also lost Johnny McDaniel and Velma Perkins this last week, who were longtime residents. And Velma was once a member of this council, not very long ago.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah, she was vice mayor. That was it. She just passed away near St. George this last week. Anyway, I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention and express my condolences for those three wonderful families. Also, the Festival of Trees was magnificent, and the parade was perfect, except that Santa Claus rode in the fire truck, and what happened there? And I'd like to thank Adam and Earl Kip for their service. I especially love to hear what you've said, all of you, and I've gained so much from my experience with you, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for being willing to serve. The Holbrook Emergency Food Bank on the 17th is looking for volunteers. So as soon as what time did you need them in the park, dog park?
Whenever they're done with you.
So we need you from about 7 until 8, and we're gonna put together 110, 120 bags and boxes for the citizens that are in need of food. And so if you can help us, we would love for you to come and help us for a couple hours on the 17th, and then the distribution will start at 10 and go until noon on the 17th, and will continue on from noon to 2 on Monday and Tuesday. So, and applications have to be filled by the 13th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilman Kester.
Yes, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the council before 6 years ago that actually hired me for a 2-year term. That was Mr. Maxwell's when he resigned. And I'd like to thank the citizens of Holbrook for having enough faith in me and voting me in to this seat. My hearing isn't as good as it used to be. Well, no, my hearing's still good. It's my eyes are getting worse. My hearing was always terrible. It was always selective. I turned 80 years old in June. That's one of the reasons I didn't run again. But to the new members that have been elected, good luck. Thank you for your wanting to run. Work together for the citizens of this city and the good of this city. The statue, Pat, I'm glad we're getting it. An afterthought was, I heard the statue was one horse with a rider with a bag. And my afterthought was, why wasn't the Postmaster General or whoever handing him the bag, because this is where it starts.
No
Go ahead.
comment. No, there's no comments right now, sorry. But we can
Anyway.
get them later.
And Marsh, what you said, I wish I could speak like that, ditto. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Wilford. It's been good working with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager Soltis.
So for transition, I'll start on talking about the outgoing council. I want to express my appreciation to the outgoing council members March, Kester, and Wolford. It's been an honor and a pleasure working with you. You've consistently put the best interests of Holbrook first, and I appreciate the wisdom, insight, support, and encouragement you offered over the past few years. You'll greatly be missed. Again, thank you for your service to the city of Holbrook, and I sincerely wish you each the best. Okay, let's touch briefly on the ballpark lights that was brought up earlier. We are working on that. What we're trying to do is find a cost-effective system. Our initial attempt to get lights in there was very, very expensive, so we're working on that. Matter of fact, we'll have a meeting with APS towards the end of the month, trying to come up with a system that we can afford. Excavator's in over at the cemetery. It's working wonderfully. Very maneuverable. It's not crushing any grave sites or anything like that, or damaging any of the turf over there. I watched them open up a hole for a grave site, and it's really working well. Thank you for that approval. We're working on in here purchasing some more cameras. Right now, as you know, we have one camera. We're going to try to get another one that you can actually see the person that's talking, then another camera over here so that you can see when they have a presentation and be able to switch back and forth, and then a dedicated computer so it's a little bit more reliable than what we have right now. Again, we're looking for a cost-effective system there. I attended the NACOG Economic Development Council, of which I'm a member. One of the things they reported on was the $44 million in grants that were received for broadband. Pretty exciting for our district. Compliments to all those who participated in the lighted parade despite the rain. It was great. There's some really awesome floats on that. I really enjoyed that. Compliments also to those that assisted with the Festival of Trees. Quite a variety. Two of my favorites. One was from the movie theater. They made a tree out of movie reels. I thought that was really neat. Other one was CD disc that they were shining lights on. But many, many other cool Christmas trees. Really enjoyed that. And then finally, I just want to wish everyone a wonderful Christmas season. I hope all of you were able to spend some quality time with family and friends. That's all I had.
Thank you, appreciate that. All right, did you guys lock the door?
Don't let 'em
Just kidding.
out.
Exactly. So at this time, we would like to thank our past council members for your service again. And we will do the swearing in of our new council members. We've got Arsenio Pacheco, Karina Pack, and Robert Black. Lisa, we'll turn the time over for you for that.
Okay. And there were no submissions.
Oh,
or number.
sorry, I skipped. Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay.
Right, can I have Robert Black, Karina Pack, and Cindy
Okay, so yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kip. I'm gonna leave my hand.
Thanks, Earl.
Thank you, I'll reach you. Get out now.
Yes, sir, that's for you.
Thank you. Hey, it was front row. Take care of yourself, and enjoy retirement.
I've been in your retirement. I went on that boat cruise.
Discharge the duties of council. Discharge the duties of council. In and for the city of Holbrook. In and for the city of Holbrook. Navajo County, state of Arizona. Navajo County, state of Arizona. According to the best of my ability. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations. I do need you. Thank you.
Right, you guys can go ahead and take your seats.
Well,
So at this point, why don't you?
Then we'll put the.
we'll do it when we do the vice chair.
Yeah, so why don't you just take a seat for now, these won't be official seats just yet, if you wanna wait till we get the vice mayor position and kinda get everything settled down, yeah, so let's just wait on that. No, we want you to sit, we're just not gonna put in a plate up yet.
Tim, we're gonna have Tim, after everybody hands in their things, we'll have Tim do his vote.
It's a good seat, because I get to see everybody else first.
I'll take care of it.
Alright, so. Well, welcome to our, now I gotta find a new word.
Now the new regular
To our
meeting.
new regular meeting and our new council members, welcome. Every council has its own personality, so it's gonna be fun to see what personality this one takes on, and so we're excited for all the work.
Should be a little more feminine.
So we're not giving you any time off, we're gonna put you right to work right away. So as the next item on the agenda is to appoint a vice mayor. And just a quick summary is the vice mayor, if the mayor's not here, the vice mayor will chair the position, or for any reason the mayor is unable to do their duty, the vice mayor will take over the position as mayor. As the mayor, it's just one vote as well, there's no extra influence or anything, just same as the mayor position. No extra money either, unfortunately. So, but with that, we appreciate those that said they were willing to put their name on the ballot, especially, you know, being brand new. We appreciate that. So with that, what we'll do is we will have everybody will vote. There'll be a silent vote to begin with, although we will turn our ballots into City Clerk Hunt. And then we'll have Councilman Dixon, he will say his vote. And then after that, she will name off the rest of the votes.
I'll read everybody's votes.
In the case of a tie, the last person that doesn't, you know, the lowest vote will knock them off the ballot, and then we will re-vote again with the top two candidates. And so that should help us prevent any additional ties moving forward. So if everybody's in agreement with that, or any issues with it, speak now. Okay, so with that, we've got on the vice mayor ballot, those that have said they would be willing is Councilwoman Pacheco, Vice Mayor Payne, and Councilman Black. So those are the three candidates, unless anybody wants to add their extra nomination. Change your mind. So, all right, with that, go ahead and take your vote. Do you want us to fold map? It doesn't really necessarily matter, right?
Yeah,
But like I said, it's.
And make sure you put your name on the ballot too.
Oh, put your-
Yeah, because then we can't have it, use your name on it.
Because your name, like I said, it is still a.
Still an open.
Public, yeah.
I know some cities said they don't say them out loud, but it's still in a public meeting, but we're all about transparency, so. Okay, so with that, are you,
Yeah, Tim-
so,
Tim Dixon.
Tim Dixon, who would you place your vote for?
Thank you, Mayor. I vote for Francie Payne for Vice Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, your vote has been collected by.
And then I'll go ahead and read the other ones off. Karina Pat voted for Robert Black. Mike Nilsson for Francie Payne. Robert Black for Robert Black. Kathleen Smith for Robert Black. Arsenio Pacheco for Arsenio Pacheco. And Francie Payne for Francie Payne.
All right, so if my calculations are correct, there is a tie.
There is a tie, Francie Payne, 3 votes, Robert Black, 3 votes, and Arsenio Pacheco, 1 vote.
So,
It's hard when you're.
You have to. You have to.
You have to.
Okay. Thank you. So this vote will be for Robert Black or Francie Payne.
Francie Payne. Councilman Dixon.
Okay, let me get these opened up. All right, go ahead with Dixon.
All right, Councilman Dixon.
Thank you, Mayor. I vote for Francie Payne for Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Mike Nielsen for Francie Payne. Robert Black for Robert Black. Karina Pack for Robert Black. Kathleen Smith for Robert Black. Francie for Francie. And Francie for, Arsenio for Francie. So that would be Francie with 4 votes and Robert with 3.
Fantastic. So you don't get to move seats, so
Oh, darn.
thank you. You're here for another, we didn't say there, it's a 2-year term for vice mayor, so.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a 2-year term, yes.
So we're glad to have you for the next 2 years. We're trying to give you a break, but.
I appreciate it.
No, but we do appreciate you, you know. Actually, Vice Mayor Payne has a lot of institutional knowledge, and she's got a lot of, you know, she understands the charter, and we appreciate that, and the policy, so we appreciate it. But we appreciate both you guys willing, especially as brand new council members, stepping up, so we do appreciate that very
And
much,
I
so.
firmly believe everybody ought to have a chance at it.
Yeah, and some people do that. Some actually take it to one year, so everybody can rotate it and things
Yeah.
like that. And that might be something as a council, if it's something we're interested in, that's something we can put into place, so.
I tell you, it does not overwork you. In the couple, 3 years I've done it, I had 1 meeting and I signed checks once. And that was, so I guess I didn't deserve a raise.
No,
But
we
it was,
appreciate it, so, anyways. With that, we do appreciate again everybody being here. We appreciate this council and we're excited about it. Actually really fast, well, maybe I should close it for the December 20th meeting, is it appropriate now?
We can't do
Do it now, it's not a discussion, so we'll get with you and see how your schedules are, so. All right, with that, we are going to, item number 12, the adjournment. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I think one of our new councils should.
Yeah, there you go.
I move to adjourn.
There you go.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
And there's cookies and